Hello, I'm Jenya DeLima. Welcome to Writing and Editing, the podcast for people who write, edit, read, or listen. Ellis Prybylski is here to tell us about an upcoming publishing conference. This is all about the Neurodivergent Publishing Conference, episode 249 of the podcast. Well, first, I'm so happy that you're here and getting to see you in person, sort of, and not just, in an editing group.
Yeah, definitely. It's different to actually talk to my edit buddies rather than just see their words on a screen. I mean, yeah, we're words on a screen. That's pretty much what we are, but still.
Right. We don't actually exist, none of us.
No, we're just thought constructs. We're tulpas.
Someone's going to steal that.
You know what? They can have it. If that ends up in somebody's manuscript, just send me the manuscript and let me read it after.
Get an acknowledgments in there.
Exactly.
Well, so it might make sense to get us started if you want to tell us a little bit about you, and then we can lead into the conference.
Okay, so short and sweet about me. I'm a professional editor. I've been in the field for about 15 years. I've worked for several indie publishing companies, but at this point, my company mostly focuses on self-publishing authors. I've done everything from book coaching to distribution, the entire process, because I owned an indie publishing company, so I had to do everything. I'm also an author. In addition to that, I am autistic and have ADHD, as well as complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is one of the reasons that I've been running this conference. And beyond that, I do historical fencing and play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and have cats.
And you make maps.
And I make maps. I am yes, I do professional map making as well.
You just do some of everything.
I do. It's the ADHD.
There you go. Well, getting into the conference, it just started last year, right?
It did. Last year was our first year. This is going to be our second. We have a bunch of returning speakers. It's going to be a good time. We had fun last year.
What made you first decide that this was something that you wanted to do? Not just that there was a need for it, but that you were interested in doing this yourself.
Okay, so full transparency here. Prior to running this conference, I had never attended a conference because they were too expensive. So I'm like, you know what? I really want to attend a writing conference, but I'm too broke to go to one. So I'm going to run one because that was the thought process.
I can totally see that.
I can't afford to attend this, so I'm just going to make one, right? That'll be fine.
That's the way to do it. And then just invite all the people that you wanted to see at the other conferences, and you get that benefit anyway.
That's pretty much what happened. I mean, I did end up going to the 20 Books conference last year, and I'm going to be attending Author Nation this year. But it was absolutely a matter of like, I can't afford to go to this. And I know a lot of people who can't afford to go to writing conferences. We're broke and they're expensive. So I'm just going to run my own and we'll call it good. And it was great.
Yeah, and the price is really, really reasonable too. And especially for what you get out of it, and that you have all the conference sessions uploaded later too. So you don't have to worry about, do I need to be here live for this, or something's come up and I'm missing the session that I was most excited about.
Yep.
So that just made it really accessible too.
Yeah, accessibility is one of our key things that we strive for. Is this year, for example, we're having all of the speakers use PowerPoint and enabling the auto captions feature for PowerPoint. So that folks at the conference will have live captioning. We can't afford a live captioner, but we're trying to create things as accessible as possible and keeping it as affordable as possible. I mean, $35 at this point, that's like a DoorDash order for one.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's the whole weekend for $35. And I think the least expensive conference for generally speaking, I see are like $100, $120.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Ones. And those are just virtual too. So I'm not throwing any shade. I mean, they have overhead and stuff they have to pay for. So it is what it is. I'm not in any way judging those folks. I just managed to make ours lean and mean. And so the conference runs on very little with the platform that we chose. And that has allowed us to keep the price really as accessible as we can possibly make it.
Yeah, would you like to talk more about the platform? Because it does feel a little unique compared to the many other conferences I've been to, but it's also probably the most fun.
Yeah, the platform, I found it, I forget how I found it, but I saw it online and I was like, this is absolutely it. So the platform, it looks like a Super Nintendo game. You have a little pixel avatar that you dress up however you want, and you walk your avatar around the conference space, and people's video and audio will fade into being like in a real room. Like if you walk up to somebody, you'll see their video and audio come onto the screen. It's proximity based. You don't have to have video and audio on to attend or participate. You can just do text, or you can just talk to nobody and walk around as an avatar. That's fine.
That might be what I did.
Yeah, which is, you know what, it's fine. The conference is for neurodivergent people, and that means that some of us aren't going to be comfortable interacting. Some of us are. That's okay.
Mhm.
And it's really easy. It's a lighthearted experience. The glitter fights were kind of the confetti fights were some of the favorite things. Last year, my husband put together this location. It looked like a campground outside.
Yeah.
And I told everybody in order to thank him for his hard work to chase him around and throw confetti at him every time they saw him. He was just bombarded with it the entire conference. Every time, like people chased him down across the whole map to throw confetti at him. It was amazing.
Yeah. I do
This
think
year we're
that
doing pirates.
it makes it feel a lot more like you're really at a conference and you're really there
Yes.
with people, like actual other people, than that
Yes.
feeling you have with a lot of the other virtual conferences where you don't really get that sense of connection or feel like,
Yeah.
you have that 10-minute networking bubble that you might not be prepared for, you might have to
Right.
miss.
Yeah, the wall of faces thing is just it's too much for me and I hate it. I don't feel like I meet or encounter or talk to anybody. It's just
Hmm.
like I'm logging into a website, there's a bunch of people on video, one person is talking. There's no like it doesn't feel like it's in person, but Gather does a really good job of making it feel like you're there with people.
Yeah, it really
So,
did. I think that's one thing that helped it, like sets it apart from a lot of other conferences, not just because of what's being covered and areas that other conferences might just completely gloss over or not even ever address, but that you are making it feel like you're part of this community when you're there.
yeah, that's the intent. And we have the Discord server, which isn't really super active between conferences, but it does stay up. And we have the Facebook groups and so on. But the conference that really the platform just does a great job of making you feel like you're there. And I loved it. And it's really affordable as a platform. It was like $7 per person per day as
Oh,
a conference runner. So
oh,
I only
that's
had to pay
good.
for the exact number of people who came. And it wasn't, that's one of the reasons our overhead is so low, is
Nice.
because it's such an affordable platform. I wish more people used it.
Yeah, and it was so easy to use too,
Yeah.
because as a non-techie person, I always have my concerns going into something where it's a new platform or new to me, and
Mhm.
then having that added stress of,
Yes.
will I be able to function in this space properly? Will
Yep.
I know when to turn my mic off? Will I
Yep.
not turn my mic off on accident?
Yep. Yeah, the that's one of the reasons why our first day of the conference every year, and it's going to stay like this in perpetuity, so far as I'm concerned, is just going to be logging in, exploring the space, getting a chance to use the technology without any kind of expectations or timeline. Just log in, maybe chat with people, figure out how to use it, and that's it. Like I want people comfortable.
Yeah, it's like freshman orientation in high school.
Essentially, yeah. And I'm hoping this year we can get some volunteers to help folks like navigate things or fix tech problems or what have you, troubleshoot if necessary. But I was on deck to help with that last year, and there wasn't really much of that. There were a couple of people who had some difficulty, but overall, not too much.
No, yeah. So what are some of the sessions that you have planned for this year?
Well, we've got Mel Cooper coming back. She's probably going to be talking about Facebook ads and authenticity because that's her thing. I know Quinn Ward is coming back. He's going to be talking about back matter, Amazon stuff. We also have people talking about like how hyper empathy can impact us as neurodivergents when we're writing or editing and how that impacts the process. I've got somebody coming in to talk about like organizing yourself as professional, how to do project management with ADHD. She's an ADHD coach.
Oh,
So
interesting. Yeah.
stuff like that. Like we've got a whole bunch, a range of things, everything from like writing specific or editing specific stuff, because there's two tracks. There's the writing track and editing track, and some of them straddle the line, but
Yeah.
and you can attend either. You don't have to be an editor to go to the editing stuff or a writer to go to the writing stuff. You just might not be in the right group, so it might talk past you a little. But it's everything from neurodivergence all the way through like what you'd expect at a standard writing conference, things about productivity, focus, story structure, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I like that you address not just skills and marketing, but you're addressing the person as well. And some of these things that they might not have even seen come up in a conference or a webinar before, but maybe they didn't even realize that it was something they needed to look into and address. I mean, I know that's been just personally, I know that's been part of it where I thought, oh, other people are doing
Yep.
that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's so many times where I've run into something as a creative that I'm like, is this a thing anybody else does ever? Or
Yeah.
is there a skill I'm missing here? Because everyone else seems to know how to do this, and I'm just
Mhm.
off flapping in the wind somewhere. What did I miss? And part of it is the neurodivergence. Like I have a, I think Jen might be talking about keywords because one of the things that I struggle with most with Amazon ads and so on is keywords because they're like, oh, just put in what people search for when they're looking for this. And it's like, I do not search like regular people search. All right. I have a degree in European history. When I go to research something, I'm more specific than your average bear. So I have no idea what kind of keywords they'd use to look something up. Like,
Oh,
what even? So
I can see that.
yeah, and also being autistic, I'm of course far too specific about things. So I'm like, yes, I would like my heroine to have black hair and all of these things, and I'll just put that into Google and tell me a book, and that's not normal.
Now we might be able to get some cover hits at least.
Right. But trying to use that to go backwards into Amazon ads, if I tried to make that a keyword, it would be a nightmare.
Yes.
That's not what you're trying to target. So that kind of stuff is helpful, and because keywords are so overwhelming to me. So I was thinking about the things that I miss, I can't
Yeah.
figure out, and or things that I know I've heard other people struggle with. Like I've got someone
Mhm.
coming in to talk about how to handle the delicate balance between giving tough love as an editor versus being too blunt and upsetting somebody. Like
Mhm.
finding that line between how do you address things with a client without either being too wishy-washy or too direct, like this is broke, go fix it, please. Like
Yes.
there's such a line there and it's always blurry.
No, yes. I tend to err more on the other side of too kind and
Yeah.
needing someone to push me in the other direction.
I am way too direct. I'm like, bro, this sentence doesn't work. Here's why, go fix it. And people are like, you hurt my feelings. I'm like, that's what you pay me money for. You pay me money to hurt your feelings. All right,
I
come
don't
on.
know if that necessarily is in the contract, but
It should be. I'm going to start sticking that in there somewhere in the fine print.
yes, with claws down in the
Scope of
very
work
bottom.
will hurt your feelings. No.
Sign here if you agree.
Right. Like, shh. Nobody needs no in seriousness though, like I do have a good relationship with my clients. I really do. Like we
Yeah.
have a lot of fun. I also talk about the things that I enjoy about their book and I try and be positive, but I am too direct for some people's tastes.
Oh, that's just, personal preference anyway. I'm sure there are some
Yes.
people that enjoy that and appreciate
Yeah,
it and are glad that they
absolutely.
have someone who's just telling them flat out, hey, here's what's not working, here's
Yep.
why.
Yeah, it's all about finding your ideal client. And I joke about being too mean, but I'm not actually mean.
No,
Like
I
I love
wouldn't
my
say you
clients. I'm
are.
no, I'm their biggest cheerleader. Like I'm wanting their book to succeed more than anybody except them, maybe.
Yes. That isn't that like really the ideal editor author relationship when you
Yeah.
know that they are supporting you, but they're not just supporting you and encouraging you, they're excited for you.
Yes, like I have a lot of repeat clients, and one of my favorite things is to like hear how their book is doing because I follow them on social media. Like I go find their stuff, I look up how they're doing, I try and keep tabs on them because I have this connection with them and I want them to do well, and it makes me happy when they do.
Mhm.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, it just feels so good every single time.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of my clients message me like, I'm having a rough time. Please talk me off this ledge of deleting everything I've ever done. Oh my God, everything's awful. Like, who hasn't felt that way or also like received that message if you're an editor? You know exactly the emails I'm talking about.
Oh, I do.
And just being that person, like, it's okay. We're good. We'll get through this. Everything is fine. It helps. It's like I've sent those emails to my writing friends, like everything sucks and I just want to hide under my desk forever. Please don't let me. And having that community and having the people around you to help pull you out of the hole when you're in it is very helpful.
Completely agree, which is another reason why I think this conference is such a necessary thing because it
Yeah.
is fostering community and it is bringing people together. It's not just sit in this webinar and then goodbye,
Yeah.
or they don't
No.
even realize you were ever there.
Yeah, no, I try and the whole point of this community was to be a community because neurodivergent people are oftentimes on the fringes of other communities because we don't interact the way other people expect us to, or we have questions or needs that aren't necessarily met by others, or we're anxious and shy and have issues initiating conversations. So creating a space by people like us for people like us helps folks feel comfortable and wanted and welcomed and embraced. And that's really the core of what I've been trying to build with these communities. And we've done a great job. Like we have I've never seen such a low drama community. We've had to ban one person this entire time we've had these communities. And it was because somebody was advertising too much in the writing community. They were just posting ads. Like, we've only ever banned for that.
That's pretty admirable. I mean, really, because it does feel like a lot of writing and editing groups, but not editing it quite as much. There's something going on almost every week.
Yeah, we try and there's almost no drama in our group. Like, that's been a thing that myself, Leslie, and the other people in leadership have been serious about is we try and foster an environment where people don't feel a need for the drama. Like, there's no argument. There's just like, hey, I'm struggling with this thing. Can I get some help? Or I'm celebrating this or whatever it is. There's no nonsense. There's no cattiness. There's no growling. Any critique is given with a very distinct attitude of, you asked for help, I'm trying to give you the help you asked for. Sometimes people have communication difficulties because, again, we're neurodivergent. Not everybody communicates the same way, but I've never seen anyone be malicious or mean spirited.
No, I can't think of a time either. And I'm just going to say now, go ahead and we'll put the links in the show notes. So if people
Yeah.
want to go to one of these Facebook groups and check it out, even if maybe perhaps they're not quite ready to join the conference or attend the
Yeah,
conference, they can go to one of these groups and just get a feel for it.
absolutely. And I also want to say, just for the record, I'm not going to make you show a diagnosis. There's no like forcing people to diagnose. If you self-identify as neurodivergent of any type, you are welcome in the community. We're not going to gatekeep. You're there, you're one of us. If you're not sure you're neurodivergent, that's fine. Come in anyway. Like, maybe you'll learn something about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about more than just writing. We've talked about neurodivergence. There have been people who've talked about difficulties with diagnosis, medication. We don't give medical advice, but if somebody wants to vent about difficulties they're having or whatever, that's fine. Like, it's community. It's not
Yeah.
just,
And even just that level of understanding that maybe other people have gone through something similar and that you're not alone in what you're going through right now. And you
Mhm.
have people who can offer you not advice necessarily, but they show you, here's how it worked out for me.
Yep.
So it's almost like there's hope when you feel
Yeah.
totally it ends and what do you do now?
Absolutely. And also there's not just other people have gone through that way and navigated it in these methods, but like, I'm not the only person experiencing this. Because before I realized I was autistic, I spent so much of my life like, but my brain does not work like everyone else's around me. I don't understand these people, and I'm constantly getting told that I did something wrong, and I don't get it. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know what I did wrong. I don't understand why I can't connect with these folks. I don't know what I'm doing differently than they are. And I just felt like this lone weirdo. Like, there was nobody like me, and I guess I'm just weird, I guess. And then a friend of mine led me down the path to realizing I was autistic, and then I got diagnosed, and it's like my entire brain changed and my world opened up, and it's like, oh, I'm not the only person like this. There are, in fact, many, many people exactly like me.
And now you're running a conference.
Exactly. And now I'm trying to bring those people together so nobody has to feel alone.
Are there ways that you advertise the conference apart from the two Facebook groups?
I should, but I haven't. It gets talked about in other spaces. So the editing groups, like the EAE groups, the EFA has talked about it recently. I did an article for Editors Canada where it was mentioned. So I've talked about it, but I haven't been doing much actual advertising, which is my Achilles heel. I don't advertise my own writing and editing enough. So trying to advertise other things, I'm just bad at it.
That seems to be a common thread with editors and writers.
Mhm.
Marketing. How do I get it out there?
The thing that frustrates me too is I went to college for business. I know how, but just making myself do it is like trying to
Yes.
drag a horse out of a stall when it doesn't want to. Like, 100 pounds of you are not moving 1,000 pounds of that. I'm sorry. No, not happening today. It's really frustrating because I have this mental block. But someday I'll be able to afford. That's one of the things I want to maybe have a PA for, or other accommodations. That's one of the journeys that I'm undertaking, is trying to figure out how do I accommodate that in
Mhm.
ways that allow me to do the things I'm really good at, and then let the things I'm not super good at maybe get help with, or find techniques that let me get around some of those roadblocks. That's a big part of what I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
And I know we're all on that journey, but marketing is my bugbear personally.
No, I'm the same way. I've always said if I did write a book, I'd be one of those people who just throws it out into the ether and then says, just float away and do whatever you're going to do, and I'll never advertise you to anyone.
I do market and advertise my books. It's trying to market and advertise my editing is different because my books, that's a physical product. The rest of it,
Mhm.
it feels like I'm important and know things. Please talk to me. And that's just, it feels weird and wrong. And I'm like, no, please don't. I'm actually a disaster in a green bathrobe. Like
Oh my
anybody who
gosh,
watches my
no.
TikToks is like, no.
So for those who don't know, Ellis is on TikTok and routinely wears a bathrobe during
Yep.
these TikTok videos. I
Yep.
almost wore a bathrobe today just because, well, not just because of that, but also because it is cold. But
Yes.
I knew that Ellis would understand.
Absolutely. Like I've honestly considered like next year when I go to Nation, I'm gonna bring the green bathrobe, and one of the days during the conference, I'm just gonna walk around in that thing and see who's like, wait a minute, I know that bathrobe.
Yes, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's like your distinguishing feature now where people are able to
Yes.
pull you out of the crowd. Hey, I know that bathrobe wearing person.
Right? Like there we go. There I figured out my marketing gimmick. It's the bathrobe.
Well, you're welcome. I'm
Thank
glad that
you.
this
Thank
show has
you.
been protective for you already.
Absolutely. We figured out my I know I need to change my author logo to a bathrobe.
Yeah, only about 20 minutes. That's really not bad.
No, not at all. I think it's record time, baby.
I'll send you a bill. Directing back to the conference, since that is
Yes.
what we're here for, although
Yes.
I'm happy to praise you as well.
Oh my goodness. You
Was there
can't see
anything
the
that
blush because
you,
there's no visuals, but I'm sure you can hear it. I am very red.
yes, we could just have a little caption below blush noises.
Yes. Flustered editor noises.
Yes, so cute.
Uh,
Is there anything that you learned from last year that was something you either brought into this year or decided maybe you would cut back on?
Last year the biggest critique I heard, because there wasn't a whole lot of critique, everyone had a lot of fun, there was a lot of positive feedback. But the only critique I did hear was that they wanted a more robust editing track. And this
Mm.
year we are almost solidly 50% editing, 50% writing.
Oh,
So
nice.
I really hit hard on trying to find people to speak to and about the editors and really make that a large part of the conference because last year it's kind of harder in some ways to find editors talking to editors because we talk to writers.
Mhm.
Talking to other editors, like it can often feel, what do I have to teach people who are my peers? Like, what do I even say to them? But this year I got into leadership in the Editorial Freelancers Association. So I've been spending a lot of time with other editors and some of the people who teach editors.
Mm.
So those are some of the people I reached out to come to this conference. And they are, I think we have two speakers who are not neurodivergent themselves.
Mhm.
One of them is the parent of a neurodivergent child. And one of them, she's not neurodivergent, but she is so overwhelmingly experienced in her field and is an incredibly warm and lovely human being that her content will be extremely useful for folks anyway. We actually had somebody last year who learned he was neurodivergent by being at the conference.
Oh, wow.
He came to the conference and spoke, and he didn't realize he was neurodivergent until he started talking to people there and realized shortly after. Now he got diagnosed with ADHD this year.
That's kind of amazing.
It is
Yeah,
like the journey of
realize like,
self-discovery
hey,
was magical.
this is my clique.
Like these are my people. I have found them. But the thing that I'm really working on this year, I also the live captioning. I learned that that was possible on PowerPoint last year because Mal Cooper did it in her presentation, and I was like, "That's a thing." Because that was one of the big asks is people wanted captions for reasons. I mean,
Right, yeah.
ADHD people, the captions, I watch my TV shows with captions. It's helpful. And seeing Mal Cooper be able to put them on her PowerPoint blew my mind. So this year I'm pushing that so that we actually have captions on as many of the panels and everything as I can. I also put that, I also have PowerPoint using captions at my church as a result of that. So now the
Oh,
pastor's
wow.
sermon is captioned up on the screen for people who can't hear. And I've heard nothing but praises from people who, we have a lot of elderly folks who have hearing
Mhm.
problems, and
Mhm.
now they can engage with the sermon.
Wow, look at all
So,
these ripple effects.
yeah. Well, accessibility is for everybody, right? Like,
Mhm.
accessibility is just helps everyone. There's no downside to that. And that's one of the things that I'm working on and forever pushing forward for with the conference is finding ways to be as accessible as possible and for to accommodate as many people as I can.
Was there anything that people asked for that just was beyond what was possible for this time, for
Not
this
really,
year?
because the captions thing was like the big ask last year, and having
Okay.
figured out the PowerPoint deal, I can accommodate that.
Yeah.
Nobody really asked for anything Huge last year because the platform has a lot of accommodation stuff built into it. Like you can turn your mic off, you can turn your camera off, you can make it so other people's mics and cameras don't show up on your screen when you're going from place to place. I had quiet spaces, so you could just go park your avatar in a single spot where nobody could talk to you. And we didn't have a whole lot of asks for the most part. Some people didn't really like the platform, but you can't please everybody on that. Some people like Zoom better, but there's only so much I can do.
Well, and I wonder too if that might just be what people are familiar with as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, some of it might be familiarity, but there weren't very many critiques at all. I mean, like I said, the biggest one was wanting more editorial content, and I think this year we're delivering on that request
Mm-hmm.
in a big way. So I'm not sure of anything, but hopefully, this year we'll get more feedback and see what people want, and just keep adding and shaping and growing this conference every year. Because I'm hopeful this will be an annual thing. My plan is to
Oh
do this
yeah.
every year for as long as I can. So, and maybe someday it'll be an in-person conference too. We'll find out, but I guess it'll depend on, what happens with the platform in the future. If Gather goes away, we'll have to figure something else out. I hope it doesn't because it's freaking amazing, but
It is very fun.
it is. I love it.
I mean, it feels a little bit like you're playing some sort of sweet little game like Harvest Moon or
Yeah.
something. And,
Yep.
not that I was harvesting vegetables or anything while I was there, but
I
it
mean,
had that same feel
oh
to it.
yeah, it does. It has a very like cozy Super Nintendo pixel graphics feel to it. This year we're
Yes.
doing pirates. So
Oh,
last year we did a
cute.
campground. This year my husband is going all out and has built a pirate ship, and the
Oh
different
my
decks are the different conference rooms, and we're gonna have a tropical island to hang out on. So
gosh, that's gonna be fun.
yes, it should be a great deal of fun. I've been really like big on blending yes, this is a professional writing conference. We're here because we're learning professional things and engaging with each other as professionals, but also we can do it while running around a pirate ship. Why can't we?
Yeah, why not?
Fun is not anathema to professionalism. In
I
fact, I think it's
completely
kind of important.
agree.
And I think that also contributes to the atmosphere of like being casual.
Yeah, and
Fun is to be,
feeling just more relaxed in general because
yes.
you don't have that stiff feeling of I have to present myself in the most professional way possible among my peers, and is my grammar being judged right now when people are
Right.
replying in emojis?
Right. Like I'm trying absolutely to just delete all of that. Like if people want to run around the conference in their bathrobe with a stuffed animal, awesome. Do it. I don't care. So long as you've got something on your body, I don't really care what it is. The only like our rules for the conference are basically cover your body
Hmm.
and make sure your background is PG and don't have controlled substances on camera, please. And that's it. I don't care
Those are
about much of
pretty
anything
easy to
else.
follow rules.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're just basic like human in public kind of rules.
right.
I will admit it completely. I'm going to be wearing PJ pants the entire conference. I am not putting on real pants for this conference. I refuse.
Why should you? I mean, no one's gonna
Right?
know. I mean, they will now, but
Well, now they will. And you know what? I hope that inspires somebody else to not wear pants today.
there you go. What a great way to end this session. That is
Yes,
the inspiration for today, everyone.
pants are nonsense. Don't wear them.
Yes. This is why I always wear a dress, but anyway.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
All
that's
right.
all for today. So thank you for listening, and please check out the show notes for more information. We're going to have links to not only the conference, but also Facebook groups that you can go check out and join. And next time, my friend and fellow editor Dana Ridenauer will be returning, and we will be chatting about style sheets and sample edits. Please join us then. Thank you.